All right, so welcome to week 2 of your online learning. Today we're going to be looking at finding different areas of polygons using specific area formulas. Yesterday I shared a video explaining what are the different formulas, but today we're going to be looking at the trapezoid, the rhombus, and the kite. All right, so whenever we have a trapezoid, A and B, that stands for the bases. So this would be base A, and this is base B. So you're going to add those two bases, divide by 2, and you're multiplying by the height, which is like the altitude. Whenever we have a rhombus, which looks like a diamond, slightly, you're going to be multiplying the diagonals. So the diagonals would look like this diagonal multiplied by this diagonal, and then you're going to multiply by half. So if we were to rewrite this formula, it would be 1/2 diagonal 1 times diagonal 2. And if we're finding the perimeter, we're just adding up all the sides. But the thing about the rhombus is that all the sides are equal. So you're just doing 4 times s. Now, when we're talking about kites, we are talking, it's going to take the same shape as those things people like to fly out in the wind. So we're talking about a shape, a figure that looks like this right over here, right? So these two adjacent sides, these two sides, they're adjacent because they meet at one point, and they're going to be, they're going to be equal to each other. The same thing, so these blue lines, they're equal, and these red sides, they're equal. And to find the area, it's going to be the same idea. You're using 1/2, and you're multiplying this diagonal with this diagonal. So diagonal 1 times diagonal 2. All right. And just note right over here, just like with our rhombus, whenever our diagonals cross each other or bisect, whenever our diagonals cross, for the rhombus right over here, you're making right angles, and they're cutting each other in half. The thing about the kite right over here, your diagonals, well, both of them won't be cut in half. Maybe this one diagonal will be cut in half, but they're also forming the same right angles. Okay. Now let's go down to our first problem. Okay, so we have a figure that looks like this. And before we start trying to find its area, we need to find out what's the name of this figure. So if I just look at it, I just have one pair of parallel sides. So that means I'm looking at a trapezoid. Now the area I'm going to use that area that I saw up here. So if I were to rewrite that, my area is going to be 1/2 of the bases, so A plus B times H. So over here, my base is going to be 4 and 13. So I'm doing 1/2. Whoops. I'm going to be doing 1/2 13 plus 4. And we're multiplying by 7. Okay. Hold on, let me check if I wrote the right formula. Okay, cool, I did. cool. So if I was to go ahead and calculate this area, I'm going to do, let's see, 1/2, and let's see if we could put that in our calculator. So we're doing 1, oh, it's not working. All right. Goodbye. All right, that's not working. All right, so I'm going to put 1/2, 13 plus 4, that's 17, times 7. So half of 17, that's going to be, whoa, let's see. So if you want to put this in your calculator, you can just write 17 divided by 2. Or if you're using your graphing calculator, you're going to do 1 parentheses 1 divided by 2, and then you have that 17. And you can go ahead and put in that 7 as well if you have the graphing calculator. So I have 17 times 1/2, that's 8.5, times 7, that's 59.5. So right over here, this is going to be our area. And just like the videos yesterday, we want to make sure we have our units of measurement, which is going to be yards squared, right? So that's how you use that formula. Okay, so let's move forward to a different example. Okay, so right over here, we have this figure. Now, I'm looking at it, eyeballing it. It does look like a kite. It looks like the figure I saw before, and we have our diagonals. One of them is being bisected by the other, or cut in half, and it looks like it's forming right angles, okay? So with this one, I could go ahead and mark this as my kite, and the formula that I need to use is going to be area is equal to 1/2 d1 times d2. Now, if they're next to each other, they're being multiplied. Okay, so the thing that's weird over here is that our diagonals are broken up. So let's make this one D1, right? We have this side of D1 is 3, and this other side is 3. So if I want to find what diagonal 1 is, I'm going to do 3 plus 3, which is just 6. And if I want to find what D2 is, I'm going to be doing, so we have 5 plus 3. Sometimes I'll have it broken up for you. So 5 plus 3, that's 8. And then I could go ahead and start plugging it into my formula. So it's 1/2 times 6 times 8. And whenever you're multiplying, you don't have to do it in a certain order. So 6 times 8, that's 48. 1/2 of 48, that's 24. 24 centimeters squared. So there you go. That's my area of my kite. And if at any point there's something in this video that's confusing, the best thing about this is that you can always stop and rewatch it again.